But again, Professor Gila succeeded in reiterating the point that politicians will always be politicians. It is we in the industry that must hold them accountable and responsible by displaying professionalism, expertise, interrogate policies. And that is what ERT does most of the time. And that is why we are having engagements such as this. And that was why we invited those who are aspiring to lead us. What do you have in the bag? Let us help you to help us. I'm not going to rehash what Professor Killer has said, because I'm sure you all listened attentively to him. And on this note, I would like to invite the former Vice Chancellor of the Federal University, Oye Ekiti, to please, let's hear your thoughts there.
President.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is something that I would like to describe as a form of ambush for me, in the sense that when I was invited by my friend and old schoolmate Dr. Autoglobe for this activity, I thought I was just going to sit back
No free lunch.
enjoy a good breakfast and take my leave. Because I'm at a stage of my life now where the kind of penumbra, kind of retired, still in active life, and to that extent you begin to question your relevance about life. So when I got this particular invitation, I thought, okay, let me just come in here, relax before going off to my regular beat. Having said that, let me confess straight away that I don't have a technical perspective on it. But I was kind of relieved when in the conversation just this morning between Dr. Lowe and Dr. Farai, who is in the house, who happens to be the wife of a colleague too, said that anybody who uses the aircraft, if you are a frequent flyer, not a frequent flyer, then you are a stakeholder. And in saying this, I always tell people that it is a misnomer to say that Nigeria has an oil industry. Just as it is also a misnomer to say that Nigeria has a pharmaceutical industry. And I think it's also a misnomer to say that Nigeria has an aviation industry. Why am I engaging in these negatives? If we listen to ourselves very carefully, if you look around very, very carefully, if you look at all our roads, you discover that some people, especially those in a particular school of thought, they argue that Nigeria is a mere cargo economy, in which it is just a question of importer, exporter. So to that extent, where is the aviation industry? And I think this should be the starting point. In saying this, I still want to commend ART, Dr. Lowe and his colleagues for bringing this together, because this is one of the very, very few sessions in which people are talking seriously about 2023 and public policy. All what you read and hear are just polemics, name callings, without a focus on what is going to happen in that vital area of public policy. Let me also reveal another side to myself. When I finished my tenure, I went back into an old profession, which is journalism, and I became the chairman editorial board of Business Day. Please don't confuse it. Not this day, Business Day. I became the editorial board chairman of Business Day. And there was this day we were trying to write an editorial on aviation. And we called in the reporter to come and give us an insight. And by the time this girl gave us a kind of 10-minute discourse on the aviation industry, I was shocked. She might even be in the room, the aviation reporter of Business Day. Thank you very much for that day. I was shocked by the level of the rot which she exposed to us. And I said, what is happening? What is the minister doing? She also told us something about the linkage between something about what should have been done in Africa and how Nigeria is not measuring up. And like I said, since I'm a professor of international relations, I've had to travel several times. And anytime I get to the airport, what strikes me is that what I can call one-way interplay between Nigeria and the rest of the world. You get to the airport and you see all those airlines, BA, Turkish, Air France, or whatever, and you then ask yourself, where is Nigeria? The fiscal consequence of that is that resources are daily being taken away from this country without a corresponding input, and we expect the economy to get better. The point is this, from our own experience in the oil industry and from aviation, the point is that Nigeria, as advanced by some scholars, has what you call a rentier economy. And the point is this: when a country lives on rents, can that country survive? Unfortunately, people are also arguing that we have moved beyond the rentier state to the post-rentier state, which means we not only live on rents, we also live on debts. And yet, we are supposed to have an oil industry. I read something in The Economist yesterday. The point again is that when you think too much, the tendency is to be very, very sad. When you think too much, you are sad. And I'm saying this also partly as a Yoruba man, not to indict the Yorubas, but because the Yorubas were steeped in a mindless Sibariti culture, which we have transferred to the other subnational groups. The Igbos, for instance, they don't call Ashwebi by their own name, they call it Ashwebiti. In terms of that mindless disposition towards consumption. And when you listen to our musicians, you see the same kind of idiocy. And I'm using my language here very, very carefully. When you listen to our musicians, they will say, what does that mean? It is that culture of consumption as opposed to productivity, which we have consistently displayed in our aviation industry. There was this story about a Nigerian lady who was, we travel a lot, we revel in that. There was this lady she had problems with the Cameroonian Airlines then. And she started harassing the officials of the Cameroonian Airlines. The man after listening to her for a long time, turned to her and said, "Madam, what has Nigeria done for you?" What that tells us is that there's even a linkage between the aviation industry and national pride. And I must say this, we don't have that pride, if I may be frank with you. Recently, I had to go to Ghana, and I was surprised about the current state of the airport in Ghana. You would think you are somewhere in Europe. And you wonder, what is happening to us? What has happened to us? Even in those days, I used to have one experience in Ghana. I always try something out. Even before they had the airports, I had one experience. I always have this experience there. You can leave your luggage and walk away. You go to the restroom. You come back and nothing will happen. Which means you are talking of aviation, national pride, national culture, and the behavioral dynamics. In saying this, somebody mentioned something about, we heard about the Nigerian Airways. And I know that there was a lot of probe as to what happened. How did we eat up the Nigerian airline? What people don't appreciate is that it was not just the Nigerian airline that was eaten up. The shipping line was also eaten up. Almost everything was eaten up. Which means, and these people are still alive in the country today. Some of them are even setting public policies. And I think in this particular case, we are not asking the right questions. Because of my position, and I'm not saying this in a boastful way, I don't belong to the underclass. So to that extent, I mix with a lot of people who in a way, who matter in this country. And when you run into them, you ask them these questions. I was talking to a very top official at an old boys meeting of somebody in the DSS or something. I said, what happened to the probe of the Nigeria Airways? And he said, you can see what they all said. Every one of them said they were not responsible. You know? And they're all still walking around this country as if nothing has happened.